Hi everyone, it's Kirstine from the Mustard Tree Trust.
Well, hello everyone. It's been a little while since I've seen you. I've been quite busy doing another event for schools at Life Path at Brinkburn. Every year we look at a different saint, and this year we looked at Oswald. But one of the saints that we don't usually look at is St Bede. I wonder why that is. You see, St Bede was quite an interesting man. But in many ways, he wasn't very exciting. He didn't see any miracles. He didn't see any visions. He didn't do anything particularly amazing. He didn't travel very far. He didn't heal lots of people. But actually, he's probably one of the most important saints we've got in Northumberland or the Northeast. You see, Bede wrote down the history of the Northumbrian saints. Without Bede, we probably wouldn't know very much about Oswald, or Aidan, or Cuthbert, or Hilda, probably. Without Bede, we wouldn't be as concerned about the days and the dates. So let's learn a little bit more about Bede. So he was born in 673, and at the age of 7, he went to St Peter's, which was at Monk Wearmouth, which is near Sunderland. In fact, at the minute, there is a church there still, and the University of Sunderland has a campus there. You see, now that church and that school was founded by a Bennett Biscop. And there's actually a school still around there called Bennett Biscop. When he was 12, he moved to St Paul's at Jarrow. Now, Jarrow is on the end of Hadrian's Wall. It's near Tynemouth. So he'd gone from Sunderland area to Tynemouth. When he was a bit older, he went to York. And there he was taught by an Archbishop of York, who was a man called Egbert. He set up a school there. And when he was 19, St Bede was ordained as a deacon, which means that he had to help with the running and the practicalities of running a church. And when he was 30, he became a priest, which meant that he did all of the services and lots of other things within the church. But he was most important because of his 3 main sets of works. You see, the 3 things he was interested in was, firstly, looking at the chronological time, so like the date line, and the fact that we start dating things at AD or BC. So he was part of the process of people dating things from when Jesus was born. So when we say that we're in 2022, that means that we're 2022 years since Jesus was born. And Bede started to do that, and that's how he started to organise all of the history into the right order. Otherwise, you'd have had St Cuthbert born maybe before St Oswald had arrived, and that isn't the right way around. So Bede was very clever and very careful in making sure that we got our dates the right way around. The other thing he did was he wrote 5 volumes, 5 huge books called the Historia Ecclesiastica. Now, those books tell the story of the church, the history of the church, the biographies of these saints that we've been thinking about. And he wrote so much about them and in so much detail. It took him a long time to work it out. So he started about 55 BC. And that was when Julius Caesar was around, before Christ. And he kept going right the way through. And he talked about lots of people in between. He also wrote down lots of things about the saints that we know in the 600s, in the 7th century we call it. So Oswald was around in 616, 633. These are important dates for Oswald's life. St Aidan was around about that time, and St Cuthbert came along just after, and Hilda, and Wilfrid, who we might go into another day. The third group of books that he wrote were spiritual books. He spent quite a lot of time writing down the things that he'd learnt throughout the Bible and studying the Bible and talking to God and listening for God's word. So he was a very important man, a very important saint. And it's quite amazing that someone who never travelled any further than York in the south up to Holy Island in the north, he didn't perform any miracles, and he didn't serve as a king. And yet, because of him, we now know all about those people who were around his time. So you might not feel very special. You might not be born into a rich, posh line or a kingly line. Are you a princess or a prince? Well, even if you're not, and even if you don't travel very far, it just shows you that actually you can be important and you can do important things with your life. So don't forget that. Now, Bede might have sounded a bit boring to us because he didn't do anything exciting, but he was very, very important. I hope you remember that, and I hope you have a really good summer holiday. I'll be back in September with more videos, I'm sure, and I look forward to seeing you in school soon. But for now, bye!